There you go. And that's one of the cool features, by the way, this panoramic sunroof. What's your title?
I work in vehicle engineering supervisor.
All right. So I guess the first question I want to ask you is a basic one. Why and how is this different from a Ford Escape?
So, first things first, right? It is based off the same platform. Based off it comes from Europe, our C1 platform. You've driven a lot of our C1 vehicles. So C-Max, Focus, you name it, right? It has a lot of bandwidth to begin with. But when this car was started in infancy, first off, we never baselined it against a current Escape. We went against the competitive set, our European X3, the GLK, Q5, and the RDX. Cadillac was in there a little bit, but not primary. Right? We just didn't feel it had the right attributes to go after.
Okay. Fair enough.
So we really started, because it's a natural question. Some people thought take an Escape and add Lincoln on top.
Right.
Well, you're going to get badge engineering again, and we've done that in the past, and didn't do so well, did we? So we really, from here, we created what we wanted to do.
So how is it better? Besides, obviously, it's got a better engine, a bigger engine, but there's more to it than that, right? There's more under the skin than you can see.
Right. Couple things. Noise was paramount, wind noise. Put a lot of effort and money and resources into wind noise. So, for example, we got 100% laminated glass. Active noise cancellation to help paramount with powertrain noise. We did mirrors, special attention to mirrors, pedestal mounted mirrors like that to help with wind noise. We felt that you name it, we put an MBH stuff, right? So wind noise there. We widened the track 22 millimeters over the platform. As you probably know, widening a platform is not easy at all, so we a lot of resources and money into that. We've got Lincoln Drive Control with our CCD dampers, and then we have
talking about those. What do those do?
So, so it gives you more control over a passive system. We can go between comfort, normal, and sport mode. So probably on the way up here, I know I did, right? A lot of people would go over to sport mode and really take advantage of those roads.
And the paddle shifters.
And a pedal, and the standard paddle shifters. So it gives us more bandwidth than a passive system can do. And some people are going to love comfort, some are going to love sport, and many people are just going to stick in the normal. But it's kind of nice on this kind of drive route in an event where your day-to-day driving, a lot of people will be normal mode or drive. You get out here when have some fun, you go into sport.
You know, I mean, Lincoln obviously has an older demographic, right? And you guys are in the process of kind of reinventing and rebranding and changing what Lincoln is. So, in your mind, what is Lincoln? What's the heart of Lincoln? Thanks. It was so quiet in here, I couldn't even hear it. What's the heart of Lincoln?
So,
the soul, the DNA.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we are trying to go after a different audience, right? I think, and I'm not the marketing guy, I'm an engineer, so I use my engineer speak. But, the brand has aged over the years, right? And we've let it. So we're going after a younger demographic, but we're not going after your 20, 30-year-old. That wouldn't make sense. But it's a much more sporty, dynamic, engaging drive. All of the vehicles we want to do are very engaging, right? We don't, it's not back to town cars that pass, right? Which is anything but engaging. Now that actually quite sold well for its demographic.
Yeah. But
we're definitely trying to change the market. Engaging, and we have, we call Lincoln DNA, right? With this the IP mounted shifter. We've got the Lincoln steering wheel. Some of the Lincoln cues we're trying to bring through, so we got some continuity through all the Lincoln brand.
And on a personal level, what's your favorite part of the new MKC?
Probably, to be honest, I'll start here because I think it's a funny story.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Okay.
When you go to the audio system,
yep.
I don't know if I play or not, but I've got 3 kids, 3, 6, and 8.
Okay.
They think this button is the coolest feature in the entire world. That alone, if they had the money, would buy this car.
Yes, it does bring that theater experience to life. That's fair. I get that.
But what I do like is it's a lot of attention to noise and wind noise. It's a much quieter car, and it's definitely an engaging ride. Really enjoy that.
So you're trying to make something that captures the heart as well as the mind, right? Because the mind is more analytical, but the heart goes for the sporty factor, goes for the fun to drive factor goes for kind of what's cool.
Well, let's be honest, right? I mean, these are not all vehicles aren't cheap anymore,
Right.
And you get into the
30,
luxury market; they are not cheap anymore. So
36 to 50,000. It's a lot of money.
And an automobile experience is an emotional experience, right? It's an emotional industry. We buy cars because what they say about us, but also what they let us do. Yeah, it's definitely an emotional experience. These aren't appliances,
Right.
If these are appliances, this would not be a fascinating industry working.
Right. Yeah, you'd be making Maytags.
Yeah, which you need too.
Right.
But most people don't.
Nothing
get
is wrong with
excited.
Maytag
Yeah.
engineers. Sorry,
Right.
we love you guys.
Actually, a friend of mine works for Maytag, so I'm going to be in trouble. But
my clothes would be dirty without you guys.
but except for a minor thing, you don't get emotional every time you walk by your dishwasher.
Right.
But people get emotional for years, and sometimes if it's done right, 30, 40, 50 years later,
Yes.
they'll get emotional about that design. And
The Lincoln
that
Zephyr,
vehicle.
which is or that Kennedy era Lincoln Continental with the suicide doors.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a car.
And people remember that for years. Remember, that's the car I had when I was 16, or my dad had.
But it's also hard for you because what you're doing is you've got this legacy of heritage that you somehow have to incorporate into a modern car, right? And yet you also have to create something that's new, fresh, and different. That must always be a struggle. Kind of, you have a lot of baggage and you have a lot of potential in the brand, and at the same time, you have to design something that's different and says Lincoln.
Yeah, and again, as an engineer, when I look at a design or how they design a car, I'm somewhat fascinated in all of how they do that. How do you bring the old to new without making it look like you did that? And yet, when they're designing something, they're still looking 5 to 10 years out in the future. I've always hats off to the design team how they do things like that.
And talking about the powertrain, there are two engine choices, right? There's the 2-liter EcoBoost and there's this 2.3-liter.
Correct.
And is there a front-wheel drive and an all-wheel drive variant?
2-liter comes in both front and all-wheel drive.
Okay.
Right now, the 2.3-liter is only an all-wheel drive
Sure.
variant. So the 2.3, this is our first application of the 2.3-liter. It had 305 horsepower. So we're definitely excited about that. It's got twin-scroll turbo in it. Integrated exhaust manifold, a lot of efficiencies there, and it ups the ante and gives you a fun to drive quotient.
And how about torque vectoring? Does this car have that feature?
It does.
And is that something that you think makes it a little bit more fun to drive? Does that kind of make it more precise around corners and give you that kind of experience that you're looking for?
Absolutely. Depending when you're coming into corners, right? It'll definitely help front to rear bias and all-wheel drives, and then it'll help brake the inside tires, help pull you around the curve even better.
All right, let's put the pedal to the metal and tell me, can you completely deactivate stability control and traction control? Is that something you allow?
Not fully.
Too dangerous.
We do have our lawyers and other things involved in the situation, as you well know.
Yeah, John, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the explanation. I appreciate it.
Thank
cool.
you.
Thanks.